Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District is now in open session, and we will move on to item 10. Item 10, consider and take appropriate action on the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074. Do I have a motion? A motion by Ms. Fuentes. Do I have a second?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You can read out the motion.
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074 as discussed in closed session.
A motion made by Ms. Fuentes. Do I have a second? Second by Dr. Alvarez. All those, any comments or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. So the motion passes.
For the record, do you say something?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, you want to say something for the record? Mr. Rivera had to step out.
And I apologize, Mr. Barrera had to step out to a meeting, and so I took over this meeting just to end. I forgot to elaborate on that. And now we can move on to citizens' communication. I believe we had Ms. Garcia, who had attempted.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Garcia.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Mr. Mijares, and all in attendance. My name is Juanita Garcia, and I am the local president of the largest teacher organization in Eagle Pass, which is TCTA, Teachers Classroom Teacher Association. I represent well over 800 members in the district, and as you can imagine, my phone and Austin headquarters have been ringing non-stop. Well, as soon as they found out the plans our district had for our community. I'm here just simply to urge you, and I quote the majority of our members' words, to stop the reckless and unsafe reopening of our campuses. As COVID-19 infection surges statewide and most importantly locally, I believe the unfortunate passing recently of 2 EPA employees hit too close for comfort. Let me clarify that our children do need to be educated, and we as educators understand that and want that. We're teachers after all. And we agree with the face-to-face instruction and the advantage that comes with it, but not the model that you guys have set forth. You have been in communications with local government entities and local health boards, as well as CDC recommendations that have advised you not to have students and staff in a brick and mortar setting, not in the classroom. We just don't understand how the towns that are willing to towns that are not willing to compromise the communities until the infection rate is well below 5% are mandating distance learning. And yet fully knowing that Eagle Pass is way above that with a 22 infection rate, and you're okay with that. We recently made headlines with the New York Times as being one of the hotspots in the nation. In the nation. It is reckless that the nation has opened some schools already in Atlanta, in the South, and the results have been nothing but catastrophic numbers, and they are hotspots and they are on the rise. The state has stated that our funding would be okay, wouldn't be in danger, whether we go virtual or live. Some districts are requesting 8 weeks of remote and even contemplating asking for more. I guess the big question is why? Why is it that Eagle Pass can't do this? Who's pushing for this? To the school board, I urge you to take care of the very people that elected you to your position to look after the well-being of Eagle Pass children, not just as a look for you. We cannot take this risk you are willing to take and hope by chance will work out. The price is just too high. I, for one, I'm sure all of us are tired of the number of good people that have passed the results of this epidemic. I do not gamble. I do not want to gamble with our children and our community's lives. Do what's right, please. Mr. Mijares has always had a good relationship with TCTA. He is very informative, very inclusive, and includes TCTA in all major decisions that are at hand. And for that, I thank you. I thank you. And I commend you for the amazing job that you are doing, along with our county judge, like said, our leadership Fuentes. You are doing amazingly. The community is watching and liking all the major government agencies working as one. All we ask as your employees, as EP students in the community, is to do the responsible thing, and that is to hold off on going into the classroom. We have lost, in this week, just yesterday, 2 of our fellow teachers that just decided on early retirement because they were just not willing to risk their lives. And there are many across the district that have decided to go and retire early. And these are good teachers that have invested in the district and have given us the recognition that the district now enjoys. I just ask you to please do the right thing. Thank you so much for your time. Please be safe, and may God bless us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia, and we're not allowed to comment at this time. I don't know if,
I'm sorry, you want to comment?
are we allowed to comment?
Yeah, you can. I was just going to say, somebody probably ought to explain that.
Well, Mr. Mijares, would you care to elaborate with Ms. Garcia and with the public regarding our funding situation that we are in?
Yes,
Maybe elaborate on
yes,
our situation.
you know, we have a difficult situation right now. We are trying our best to keep our students and staff safe. You know, the state did mandate for districts around the state to start in person and give the parents the flexibility to start in person. As a district, we don't have another option, but, you know, for us to be able to continue to function financially as a district, in order for us to continue paying our employees, we need to follow state guidelines and state mandates. This is really a state mandate. They're the ones that create the rules, and for us to follow them, in order for us to get funded, we have to follow them. So the difficult situation here is that we don't want to jeopardize funding. We don't want to jeopardize teachers that need their salary or employees that need their salary to make sure that they pay their bills monthly. So it is a big sacrifice. Our president, Mr. Trump, did declare teachers as essential workers. Because we are essential workers, all of us are essential workers. We're opening because we really are instructed by our state leaders to do so. Now, we are going to take every precaution that we can to make sure we open safely. We have passed out, the campuses have been given PPE. We have distributed thousands of masks and PPE so that we can keep everybody as safe as we can. The campus and the principals are given them the flexibility to make sure they work with the students and the staff, and they group the kids in a safe manner. Right now, we do have around 10% that have requested in person. It's a very minimal amount, and we're going to try our best to keep that number down as much as we can. We understand that the situation is very difficult. You know, we have conference with the EOC from the city and the county. We also created our own EOC committee locally so that we can get input from the administrators, and we can do the contact tracing we need. We also are training on how to respond to when there's a confirmed infection at the campus. We are encouraging all teachers to please use a face mask, a covering, shield, or whatever you need to stay safe. If you follow all CDC guidelines, all TA guidelines, you will be safe at the campus.
And we thank you for providing all of that for us, and we understand your position. I guess the question at hand would be, how is it that San Antonio, being some local district, Laredo is going, for the first 8 weeks, they're going viral, and they're not having kids in the classroom?
Yes, we are.
Mr. Struber would like to answer that, our attorney.
Yes, ma'am. Let me see if I can help with this. There are no districts in San Antonio that are going strictly remote. There's some misinformation in the media, but every district in the state was, for better or worse, given a directive that the district must offer in-person instructions to students who request it, and or whose parents request it. There's a lot of misinformation in the press. The governor initially said that local health authorities would have the ability to make certain decisions, and then the attorney general issued an opinion saying that that was incorrect. So this district is not doing anything different from every other district. Now, the districts in San Antonio and in Laredo are emphasizing remote instruction, just like this district is. But by law, by state law, the district cannot refuse a child that wants to come in for in-person instruction. And the power of the board to force only remote instruction has been curtailed by the various orders that have come down from the state and from TEA. So I realize the circumstances that everybody finds themselves in. However, this board is forced by law to follow the state mandate. And the only way that's going to change is if the governor and attorney general and lieutenant governor change it. Until then, I would encourage you not to assume that districts are offering only remote learning, because that's simply not true.
Laredo Independent District is not offering just virtual. The teachers are not even in the classroom. They are teaching from their home.
Well, I think if that's the case, what is happening is that students who insist on coming to the campus have to be let in. If Laredo is not following that, then they're not following the state directive. And so that's it. We really can't.
As far as I know, that was not stated. And the reason I know Laredo is because I do have a family member that is teaching in Laredo and in San Antonio in several districts. And we did ask, are you going half and half? Is this what's happening? And the attorneys, and often with the TCTA attorneys, were looking into that, and they stated it is up to the local control, the local district, what it is that...
I hate to take exception to that. At one time that was true, but it's no longer true. And again, if Laredo is not following, and I'm not suggesting they're not following the state mandate, but if they're not, then they're violating the law and they're risking their funding. And I think if you recheck with your TC, and again, I'm not taking the position that this is good. I'm just telling you what the law is. And I think what I would encourage you to do is speak to administration in Laredo and see what they're doing. And also, if you have issues, contact TCTA, because believe me, this board would like to assert all the authority it can over the opening of schools, but its hands have been tied by the most recent rulings from the state. And those rulings occurred, within the last 2 weeks approximately?
Yes.
The last 2 weeks. Before that, what you're saying is absolutely correct. But then the Attorney General opinion came down, and it forced TEA and the governor effectively to change their position. So if this district were to say students cannot come in, then the district is risking losing state funding, because that's the hammer that the state has. So I know there's a lot of confusion, but I absolutely promise you that the current state of the law is the district cannot turn away a student who comes asking for in-person instruction. We can encourage remote instruction, but we cannot turn a student away. And I think, less than 10% are asking for in-person?
Yes.
You know, and we don't have the authority to turn them away. I think, I can't speak for the board, but I know the board wishes it had more authority. So anyway, that's really where we are with the law.
I'd like to add to that. Ms. Garcia, this is Dr. Alvarez on the line. And,
Yes, sir.
yes, we were real happy, like what Mr. Strieber said. We were real happy about like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, when we were given like a little bit more authority over this. We're real happy because we said, hey, you know what? Let's keep everybody in, and you know, and especially because of the percentages that we're dealing with here in the county, in the community, in the city, the county, and we're real happy. And then, you know, pretty soon after that came you can do that, but you know, basically face the consequences on the funding. And then about a week later or so, they said, oh, you can get a letter from your local EOC, and if your counts are high in that area, you're allowed to present that, and that'll suffice. But again, you know, sometime later that went downhill. So basically, you know, we're in the same boat as every other district is in the state because of our state leaders and what they've mandated. But at the same time, or in the same token, we're trying to do our best to legally, you know, provide as much safety as possible with what's given to us. In other words, they're giving us the weapons to work with, and we have to provide the safest possible entry that we can for our staff and students. That's why, you know, we've come online or in different videos saying we stress to the community, please, you know, let's go as much as full remote as we can, and doing things like that, you know. And every single district works in a different way. I know there's other districts that have more percentages of students that are coming, that do want to come back to school. But, you know, Ms. Garcia, that there is a lot of misinformation. And also, Ms. Garcia, sometimes we don't get that information from the state until, you know, it comes a little bit slow. But when it does come, you know, it's like, it's almost on not a daily basis, but really, I mean, pretty close to a daily basis. Things have been changing for the past month, you know, every week or so. And we're just trying to stay as on top of it as we can. But, you know, I've got children in the district, a lot of family members, you know, that you know, in some form or another, maybe some friends that are teachers. It's basically our community. You know, I've had friends that have passed away in the recent weeks, and I feel exactly the same way you do. And I hate it when our hands are tied in that manner, because Mr. Mijares, like, what's our funding percentage from the state right now? 75%?
We have around 80%, is what?
80%. 80% funding. So we could easily say, no, well, we're not going to follow you guys. You know, we're going to do our own thing and go rogue, and everybody stay home. We're going to lose 80% of our funding. And I think, you know, you know, there's going to be a lot of, we're going to be in a different situation altogether, and it'll be, you know, and I feel for that too. I wish we were a district with, you know, that didn't rely on the state at all for funding, and we had everything that we needed financially to move forward and do what we wanted to do. But unfortunately, yeah, I mean, we're basically in the same boat, Ms. Garcia, yourself and us. And I wish they would give us a little bit more, like Richard said, a little bit more leeway to work with.
Yeah, we had previously met, Mr. Mijares and I, and we did discuss the 80% on how he's trying to keep everybody's job, and we thank you for that, for looking out for us, and yes, it was the 80% of the funding that came from the state. And yes, there is a lot of misconceptions, a lot of information there that is being said in all different districts, and coming down to the reality or the truth of it, we reached out to T with our attorneys, and unfortunately, the 3 people we needed to get a hold of couldn't be together because they're not working at their office, they're working from home remotely. So even at that kind of puts us as like, okay, you guys are safe, yet you want us in here. And then looking at the news, and it's not hearsay, it's looking at facts, that now that the schools have gone back, there is a rise, and it's just scary. I mean, we're losing, I'm sure Mr. Costia can attest to this, he's had a lot of teachers that have gone into early retirement, and these are good teachers, but they're just not willing to risk their lives, or worse, infect kids. That if we're doing everything above and beyond at 6:30, and some of our teachers are still here on campus, and it's both mentally, physically, and I'm sure I'm not saying that you're not taking this into consideration. I just had to do this for all my members and just bring it up to your attention that if there is anything, and I know that you meet with the governor, that he has meetings with the superintendent and with the education director on a weekly basis, and he can inform with you. It's just something that I'm weighing on everybody, all the instructors and all the students that we're gonna see. And I mean, it's hard. We just want you to please keep us abreast of everything, and hopefully this will pass soon, God willing.
If I could just add real quickly, if one thing would be to get the state to return the authority of the local health officials as to whether it's safe to have schools operating, and not penalize schools that follow the directives of the local health authorities. And I did, if you want to, when you get a chance, if you take a look at Laredo ISD's website, they are in fact offering on-campus instruction to certain students beginning at the start of the school year. They're in the same boat we
Did they
are.
make it public? Maybe that's where they're not
Well, it's
emphasizing
in
it.
their
Where
safety.
I don't know how many percentage, and I should have inquired, how much percentage are actually going in? Because I know for a fact one school, the one that I'm familiar with, is going 100%.
Yeah, and I can't answer that, but I can tell you that it says under their safety plan, and certain circumstances, et cetera, parents, let's see,
It's on the
parents are
website.
entitled to have their child receive on-campus instruction. So districts are presenting this to the public in different ways, but we're all really operating under the same state mandate. And the best way to deal with that, and I can't really give advice to TCTA, but would be to encourage your attorneys to lobby the state to allow more local control.
Yeah,
that's
as a
all I
matter of
can
fact,
say.
as we speak, I believe they were trying to get, I know the decision down with the lawsuit in Florida just came down with the opening of their schools down there, and they found it was unconstitutional for them. It was pretty much like bullying with the funding. But I know they're in constant contact with the Capitol, and they're discussing this. And Mr. Mijares, thank you for when you go up and you discuss this and you keep the public aware of this. And I know you did mention it is best if they were to stay home. You did make it a point that it was safer, and I thank you for that. And perhaps if we make it a little bit more clearer, and 10% is 10%, we're a large district. So we're hoping that that they adhere to this advice, and that we do we don't have any unforeseen or any rise in numbers because of this situation.
Ms.
Thank
Garcia,
you very much. Pardon me?
this is Hilda Martinez. Professionals, and we are
Yes.
considered essential workers. We
Yes.
have been going through this, so believe me, I hope you trust us that we have been going through every scenario as far as safety and health is concerned. We have probably drilled administration and our superintendent in every form or fashion as far as safety is concerned. How are the teachers going to go in? And I apologize if there is not enough information out there. It will come to your campuses. We have been asking, we are on top of it. Mr. Cox is ready, Mr. Camarillo, everyone here standing in the room has probably been questioned by us 100 times, and they really are trying their best to keep everyone safe, not only our employees, but our staff. And with that, I would like to pass it back to Mr. Mijares to elaborate a little bit regarding our safety protocol that will be followed in the campus.
Yes, and Maribel, there's a lot of things that are out there, but I have called other superintendents because it is very confusing, and they all
Yeah.
tell me the same thing. If a child, they have instructed their principals, if a child shows up at your campus, you take him. That's what they tell their principals.
Yes.
Because when I hear the same thing you've been hearing, we've been hearing too. So what I do, I have John or myself call that superintendent, and they're all under the same guidelines. Of course, there's districts that are not dependent on state funding. They return money to the state. They're not going to be afraid to do whatever they want. Okay? So I'm not saying they still have to follow TEA guidelines, but the repercussion would be a lot less than us right now. But
And definitely because of the population that we are, and we
Yeah,
do
exactly.
depend highly on that funding.
Yeah.
And I thank you for taking that into consideration. And I do know that it puts you in a hard place, because then we would be having a different conversation, and, well, why did we lose 50 teachers? Well, there's no funding. That's, everybody went remote, and, well, that's what happened. And then I understand you guys are placed in a position. I just keep us, safe as much as you can, and just the dialogue, and that way we don't know, we know what's going on, we know the attempts that you're trying, and by all means, I did not mean to say that, oh, you're just sitting up there and dictating, no. But just be aware of all the guidelines, because it does change on a daily basis, it is. Like,
It is.
tomorrow we'll get a call, guess what, you're not opening because of
And let's
in
hope,
Florida.
it's not,
And-
this can change tomorrow, it can change next week. So let's hope that the state does, reevaluate the situation. I'm hoping, but all we can do is do the best that we can by cleaning and disinfecting, following procedures, and making sure that the classrooms and the schools are safe. We have trained a group of we call the rapid response team, and they are going to do thorough cleaning. We have bought the latest disinfecting equipment, so they can go spray. If there's a situation, they can go disinfect. I think those are electrostatic disinfectant guns. They're like you look like if you're in Ghostbusters, But we are going to do everything we can to disinfect and follow whatever protocol we need to follow. So rest assured that this board has worked very hard and is very diligent in everything we do. They do ask a lot of questions, and like Ms. Martinez said, we have 3 board members that are in the health field. And you know what? They have been adamant about not allowing students in school. They have been adamant. Yet, they understand that the risk and the repercussions are very, very substantial, you know, with funding wise. So we're between a rock and a hard place. And what we can control is how clean our campuses are, how safe, and that everybody follows the protocols we set forth. You know, so it's very important that we follow them. And, I mean, we even talked to principals, don't be having any lunch or breakfast because it's a risk of people congregating. So not that we want to be mean or anything, but we want to take every opportunity away so that people can socialize. Because right now, our campuses need to be safe as possible. So, I mean, we are working hard every day. Our administrative team works through weekends. The board, you know, they call me on Saturday, they call me on Sunday. I mean, and they are concerned because we care about our staff. You know, we have a very caring board, a very inquisitive board, a very hardworking board. So rest assured that we're not going to rest until we make sure that we're doing everything possible to provide safety and cleanliness in the campus.
Well, I think, Mr. Mijares, when we look at those, you know, we have media all over the place now, and when we look at those pictures of schools that have opened with like jam-packed hallways, and, you know, that scares us.
Yes,
That scares everybody, and it's like, why are they doing this? And, you know, it's like completely out of character to do something like that. And in, along those terms, Ms. Garcia, Ms. Fuentes, you wanted to add a little bit on the numbers?
Yes, Ms. Garcia, I can assure you, personally, and just, you know, just working with this board, you know, how difficult it has been, you know, to, you know, make the decisions, you know, that we have had to make. You know, I gave testimony of my own situation, and I know that I'm getting personal, but I don't mind. I had a son who was asymptomatic. He tested positive asymptomatic. I had a son who almost lost his life. So I begged, you know, I talked to Mr. Mijares, and, you know, he tried his hardest, you know, in complying, you know, with what was best, you know, for our students, for our staff. And, you know, one of the things that, and I, you know, we were talking, Ms. Purcell and Dr. Alvarez right now, you know, the numbers, you know, we received a report from Mr. Mijares, giving the numbers of those students that have registered for in-person. And I think that maybe if you hear, and our teachers hear of the enrollment that we have as of right now, we have campuses that have, for example, 2 students that have enrolled, other campuses that have 40, and I'm reading from the report, others that have 29. The bigger campuses, which are the secondary campuses, we have 278, for example, in one campus, and then that campus has an enrollment of 2,300 approximately students. So they're at 278. You know, so those are the, you know, 60, 23, 36, 24, 11, 8, 7. So just, you know, giving you a number as to the number of students that will be on campus. You know, we did have Mr. Mijares, you know, who, you know, we've heard him in the conferences saying, you know, that he encourages, you know, the online remote distance, you know, learning, you know, for our students. So everything is being done, you know, to you know, keep everyone safe. So I just wanted to mention that so that, you know, the enrollment numbers I was just giving out so that you could see, and maybe, you know, teachers that are listening, you know.
I think definitely that would put a lot of people at ease. Because I guess like you said, the media, they're covering all these halls that are crowded, and we're assuming, oh my God, is this, you know, what we're seeing? And with that being said, about the 10% of that are going, are we gonna then allow, say, one child attends and then the neighbor decides, well, everything's going good, let me just go ahead and enroll him, and we're gonna have maybe 30 enrolled by the following week? Or are we staying at that percent for the 9 weeks, or are we including additional as the time goes by?
Yes, but by rules, the rules of the state and guidelines that they were given students will not be able to switch between one modality and the other until the end of the 9 weeks. So right now, at
Okay.
least, we will be this for the first, it'll be like this for the first 9 weeks. So we're not allowing, of course, if you're in person and a student has COVID, of course, we're gonna allow it to go home and do distance learning. But by our procedures and policy, we're not allowing anybody to switch until the end of the 9 weeks.
Okay. And of course, all it takes is one to get everything
Yes, yes.
started.
No,
But
we
with that
will
being said,
allow
the
the
number, I
switch.
think it
Yeah.
kind of puts it a little bit more into perspective, what we're looking at. And thank you for sharing those numbers. But I just felt that as a president that I needed to come and voice it, because there was way too much, maybe misinformation and a lot of fear in everybody. I mean, the people, that have been infected with this, it's not just numbers anymore, it's we're putting names to these numbers, and it's real, and it's very scary, and I'm glad your son's doing better, Ms. Fuentes. So with that being said, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you so much for listening, and like I said, Mr. Mijares, you've always worked very well with us, and I thank you for that. Just keep an open mind whenever, I mean, I might go nag at y'all tomorrow, but it's very frightening for us, because we are not essential employees. Well, now we are. When we signed up for this, it was to change the world, but to educate, not to risk our lives. And I commend you for those that are essential employees. Thank you for putting definitely your life on the line. And just bear with us, and just keep our safety in mind. And if any chance comes up, jump at it and take it. Keep us safe.
Ms. Garcia, thank you for joining us today. We're very grateful that we had an opportunity to listen to your comments, to the teachers' comments. It's important for us to be transparent and communicate and kind of clear
And
up
I've said
that
all along. I'm sorry. I've said that all along with the superintendent. He's been very transparent with the teachers, at least with the TCTA, and hearing us and working with us and involving us in a lot of the decision making. And I thank you, the board, for that. And thank you for looking out for us.
And I know I speak on behalf of all the board, that we definitely appreciate all of our teachers, even more so now during this time. We are not teachers, and we've been put in this situation to become teachers. So thank you very much for everything that you do regarding all of our children and students. So, but anything that we can help with, any additional questions, I'm sure the superintendent would be glad to answer any additional questions at his office at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As the time goes, I'm going to meet with my officers and their members and the representatives. If they want a Q&A, could we maybe set something up where they can address or have some
Yes.
things answered?
Yes, Maribel, if you can, at any
I'll
time
go
you
ahead
can
and
call
call
my
you, yes.
office and we'll set something up, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Please be safe, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mijares, any correspondence and information?
No, not at this time. Usually we have a lot of events, but, due to COVID, so everything is a little bit slow now. We do have a next board meeting. We might go extend it for the following week, but I'll meet with Mr. Barrera and then we'll inform you. And if we want to extend that meeting to the following week, I think it's on the 8th of September, the second Tuesday. We may go to the following week for the board meeting. So that's all I have. And if there's any questions.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second by Ms. Purcell, and the meeting is adjourned at 6:22 p.m. Thank you all and have a good evening.